Bitcoin holding steady as CPI inflation rises. We're going to discuss that and much, much more on today's show. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. My name is David. I'll be one of your co-hosts. And today, like every single weekday, we're coming at you live from our studio in Las Vegas, Nevada. On today's show, like I mentioned, we're talking about CPI. Also, what are some of the undervalued layer ones that you should potentially be looking at? Also, another stablecoin, DPEGs. We'll discuss that. And we got a lot to talk about. But first, allow me to introduce you to your other host, Big Rob.
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, well, we're the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where we take old, boring, and, well, stale information and repackage that thing up in a fun and sexy way. Heard that one in a while, huh? You know?
It's great.
Damn right. Yeah. Andreas says, happy Thursday.
Jim Scott is excited that he caught us live for once. What's up, Jim?
Ooh. If you are new here, say hello so that way I can drop an hola back at you. I see we do have a few new people. We got Algosaurus. I know you're not new, but I haven't seen you in a while, so I'm just giving you a big shout out. See you back in here. We talking Algo today or what?
No.
We got Pete S, Jim Scott, Andrea, all set, and then Red Elephant as well. So, to all of you. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. Also, we setting a club limit thing. I know we didn't open up the club the whole time I was gone. What's the club limit? 170?
50.
50.
Just kidding. 175.
175. So we're at 20 likes. It's absolutely disgusting. But if you hit this like button, maybe we'll get to 170 likes. We get to 170 likes. We'll open up the club. Have a Vegas party. That's right.
Viva Las Vegas. I do want to start off today's show by thanking our channel sponsors. Today's 4K live stream is brought to you by none other than Cam's Blue Wire Technology. They are a channel sponsor. And if you run a business, want to maximize your networking, IT, and your cybersecurity, you want to call Cam's Blue Wire Tech or visit bluewiretech.com because they'll help you so you can focus on making money for your business. Also, big thank you to Radix. Radically Better DeFi. Big shout out to their team for a successful upgrade. If you want to learn more about the Radix ecosystem, I believe we're going to be having one of their top projects on the show coming up soon to discuss all the exciting things happening in Radix. But if you want to learn more about them, visit radixdlt.com or click the link in the description of this video. Now, porch pirates are nothing new, right? They steal our Amazon packages. But the thing is, everyone's got a camera now. Well, there is a way. There's a new way, a life hack of how you could potentially steal some Amazon. That's pretty good incognito, right? I mean,
You hit by a car. You ever play was it Metal Gear Solid? You can hide in a box and then walk around incognito. Very reminiscent there.
Well, now you can take that same idea and take people's boxes. And here we have a dog walking to school.
What in the hell?
White House whistleblower claims strangers drag him from place to place and make him sign papers and read words on monitors, and he hardly gets any ice cream.
The only reason I'm laughing is because
Joe
you're
Biden.
laughing. I don't understand.
White House whistleblower.
Boy.
You don't find that funny? I thought you'd find that funny.
It's okay.
Because you can just, if you like the unblurred face.
You don't need to explain it. We understand.
No, I'm saying you
Please
can envision.
Explain it, please.
You can envision one of those.
Oh, it's Joe
looks.
Biden. Oh,
Dang.
I get it now. Yeah.
You can picture the actual look on his face. Like, what? Oh, man. Anyways, here's a visual representation of crypto status right now. This was just funny because every time someone would throw a punch or something, the other they would fall.
The kick was.
Jeez.
We're in shambles right now, guys. All right, this is what we're saying. We're in shambles. Justin's son's over here siphoning money away, and we got Sam Bankman-Fried testifying, trying to throw Binance under the bus, and Ethereum. Vitalik keeps selling all his Ethereum, and then
You see the last kick, he kicked it, then it fell.
Yeah.
In my hero says, is Dave high today?
High on life, baby.
Yeah, okay.
High on life. Here's another visual representation of the Federal Reserve and the fiat system. Bitcoin, baby. It's gonna crash the whole thing.
It was funny. I wasn't expecting it.
And in honor of inflation today, reported inflation, actual inflation. So
Wow.
we talked about this yesterday, Rob. Is we believe, right? I agree with you that what they report is not really what we're.
Is it because she dyed her hair blonde?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly.
All right. Awesome. Yeah.
So
'Cause obviously you see the roots there on the on actual
got to color in those roots, bro.
brunette and
Got to color those roots.
so yeah, reported inflation. Then you got the actual it's dressed up
Inflation.
yeah, for sure.
Repackaged up in a fun and sexy way, you know?
Yes.
Um,
Yeah. Very. What about a soft landing? They talk about those all the time.
Landings are made for speed, not comfort, my friend.
So-
Anyways,
Hit the like button.
so welcome back, man. Anyways, so as far as actual inflation, as reported by our United States government here, so this is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, CPI. The headline 3.7, which is up from 3.6. The fourth consecutive month that we have risen on this CPI metric. Food is up 3.7%. The largest gainer is food away from home, 6% year over year. 6%. So it says restaurants, if you go to Taco Bell or McDonald's or wherever the hell you eat, just don't eat roast beef sandwiches. The energy sector is down 0.5%, but that number, here's the issue, right? We know
gasoline is up.
That's what I'm saying. We know gasoline is up, right? But it's definitely more up more than 3%. I think next year's CPI we're going to be over 4%. Or sorry, next month's CPI year over year I think will be over 4%.
Do you think so here in Vegas, gas is around $6 now, right?
No,
$5?
Five. In Cali, it's like
$7. Yeah. Sorry, the Mercedes takes.
Oh, my bad. Sorry,
the Mercedes takes the 91. It takes the premium. I don't take that peasant gas over there.
Sorry,
You put the same gas in the lawnmower.
I got
to your
Toyota,
car.
man. So
your car and lawnmower take the same gasoline. Just put it that way, okay? Thank you. Anyways,
David Mini Cooper still uses
calm down, Fiat.
ethanol.
Calm down, Fiat.
he's like, yeah, just put the bottom half of that Tito's bottle in the tank. Fill it up with a little 81.
Throw some sugar in there.
Moonshine.
We're making alcohol, baby.
So, do you think that is it all possible that we get? I was gonna say $7, but that's the 91. Do you think we get to $6.50
Peasant gas?
on peasant gas? On David gas?
If things intensify
This year.
If things
before the end of the year.
if things intensify in the Middle East, yes.
Yeah.
If the whole Israel situation with Gaza and the Middle East and Iran, if that thing gets more intertwined and gets worse, then
Israel doesn't really do gas. So
No, I know, but I'm saying
if
the conflict
proxy
spreads throughout the Middle East.
Yeah. The reason I bring that up is because we were seeing CPI tick up, and it's no surprise that gas is up, at the pump, which is the lifeblood of the U.S. highways, right? And how we transport our goods from coast to coast, from the docks to just everywhere. And so my hypothesis is, hey, if this thing keeps going up, as you mentioned, in the Middle East, things get a little bit more dire. People start playing geopolitical wars. Remember, every time the U.S. gets in a a disagreement with a Middle Eastern country,
Disagreement.
yeah, they all of a sudden start raising prices of oil, right? Remember?
Mhm.
That was something that was one of the reasons we had the oil shoot up after the pandemic, remember? It was the
Biden went to Saudi Arabia and said, "You have to start producing more oil," and they're
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah," and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna cut 1 million barrels a
yeah,
day."
exactly. And so we find ourselves in a situation where we see the price of gas going up again. And especially by the end of the year, I would not be surprised to see us back in 5%.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
And if we go back to 5% CPI, I mean, the Fed kind of
we would still
the
be
Fed would
well, but we would still be considered in a restrictive state because the interest rate would still be higher than the inflation, right? Now, if we get over 5.25,
that's what I'm saying.
then you know, I got a tweet I'm going to share here from one of the most well-known economists in the country, in the world. And you just when I show you this tweet, you're going to really see how out of touch these people are with just everyday American lives. I'm going to the gas station, and my wife drives a Toyota Highlander. My kids have soccer practice, dance practice. She's driving all the time, and I went from, because we budget everything, I went from spending about $160 a month on her car and gas to over $350. And so that's in a matter of the last 2.5 years. And, I'm lucky enough to where I can afford that. And yeah, I have to cut back spending here and there or make a little more money. But to some people, they don't have that option, right? So does it come down to, sorry, kids, we can only go to practice twice this week instead of 3 or 4 times, or sorry, we can't, go to your favorite dance class across town because gas is too expensive. I know it sounds,
or instead of having a real home cooked meal, you get Easy Mac, and I'm not even
Yeah.
trying to be funny.
No,
You
seriously.
get people starting to make cuts at things that they shouldn't. I mean, I guess you shouldn't really cut anything, as far as getting by, but I feel like a lot of people cut back on their quality of food. That's something I'm telling you, man. In case y'all aren't familiar, I wasn't here for a damn month. It's because the quality of food I ate was compromised, right? And I won't go into detail, but let's just say I had something that the meat itself was probably treated with a bunch of antibiotics, because I'm in the hospital and antibiotics does not work, like none of them. And
that's the scary part.
and so my personal, I won't get too deep into it. My personal recommendation: there's something behind the GMO, no antibiotic meat, because the more antibiotics you treat at the level of
life.
the harvest, both on plants and on your livestock, makes any bacteria that grow on there resistant. And then good luck trying to kill that thing, man. And so anyways, yeah, with people trying to cut back, man, I feel like they're gonna take the cheaper options, right? They're gonna get that
manager special estimates.
yeah, they're gonna get cheap food. And so for me, that was a big thing that I awakened to after spending a month in the hospital, damn near, So
That's the thing, though. If people are starting to feel the squeeze at the pump, or their rent's going up, or they're spending more money at the grocery store, they're gonna be like, "Do I really want to spend an extra $2 on this organic milk, or should I just get the regular one that I used to always get?" So it's a sad reality, but everyone's faced with choices. I always recommend, before you start cutting back on your lifestyle, especially if you put the time and effort living a healthy lifestyle, going to the gym, eating like organic food, whatever the case may be, always first try to find a way to make more money before you start cutting back and altering your lifestyle. As far as core CPI, all items less food and energy is at 4.1%, so higher than the headline, and that is taking out food and energy. So a lot of this is coming from shelter, and so it'll be interesting to see, because, like I said, the CPI, I think next month will be over 4%. The price of gasoline and oil usually takes about a couple months, 6 to 8 weeks, to trickle into the numbers of the following CPI. So who knows? The Fed has a meeting on November 1st. We're not going to get the next CPI until mid-November. So the Fed's going to have this to go off of in their next meeting. And we saw the FOMC minutes, and they all agreed we want to keep it where it's at for a significant amount of time, unless something changes, whether that's to the upside or to the downside. And then just this from the Kobayashi letter. While CPI inflation is at 3.7%, inflation is much higher in many basic necessities. Car insurance is up almost 20%. Car repair is up 10%. Transportation up 9%. Rent, homeowner, food away from home, we mentioned meat and poultry. While headline inflation is down from its highs, many basic necessities are still seeing 5+% inflation. It's also worth noting that we do not have deflation, we have disinflation. While the rate of inflation is down, prices are still rising. Affordability is getting worse. And here's that tweet I talked to you guys about. It's just Paul Krugman. The war on inflation is over. We won at very little cost. We won at very little cost. How asinine
when
is
he
that statement?
says we won, I genuinely believe he means privileged group of individuals that have benefited from the printing of money, because the inflation that we have, basically just extra money in the system, and most of that funneled to a handful of people. And so did Mr. Paul Krugman win? Did he get his lion's share of the extra printed money since 2020? Because if he did, then he won, right? But who lost?
Say at very little cost. That's just, I don't know, maybe banks collapsing, the Fed balance sheet continuing to grow, a discount window had to be open to backstop all the banks. No cost. It's fine. You know, people have to go out and get second and third jobs. Moms have to leave the house and go find a job to make part-time money. Yeah.
But
So-
we win. We win.
We won, guys.
Okay,
Yay.
but here's the thing: very little cost. Like I genuinely believe that this man. So he writes for New York Times, right?
I don't know.
Yeah. He represents.
He's definitely an establishment guy.
Yeah, he's an establishment guy. He writes for the New York Times, so he represents the people that make money in corporations, high net worth individuals, CEOs, board members. He's kind of in step with them. He's an economist, and so very little cost, man. The people on Wall Street didn't do much, right? They got the quantitative easing, money just got airdropped into their bank accounts. They didn't even have to cash a check, man. They just wiped away debt. Like quantitative easing was literally the U.S. government being like, how much you owe us? How much you owe somebody else? Okay, cool. You know what?
Delete.
Yeah, we good. Don't worry about that, man. Just keep borrowing money. We'll just keep deleting it. How about that? And then, so they do that. And so New York Times column reporter, I think that's who he, I'm pretty sure. I know he's a journalist, but
He's a macroeconomist, but I know he writes for, but I don't know if he writes for New York Times, but his main thing, he's a macroeconomist. Here, I'll go to his profile here. He's one of the most well-known, yeah, you're right, New York Times.
yeah. So very little effort for the people that got funneled all of this money, all the money that got printed, quantitative easing. It all led into certain companies and high net worth individuals, and that came easy for them. They didn't have to do anything. And yeah, there you go.
That's the sad reality is these are the people that are giving advice or making decisions. People that say, we beat inflation at very little cost. Sure. All right, let's move on. Rob, why don't we take a quick break and why don't we say hello to some of the people in the chat?
All right. If you are new here, say hello so we can drop that hola back at you. Not too many new faces, but we do have River, Print 3D, and Yair. So to all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. Also, let's get this party going by hitting that like button. Thank you.
Yeah. I do want to share a couple more things before we move on from CPI and macro and on to more crypto. And this is the dollar index, right? The Dixie. So this broke a pretty long downtrend. This is on the daily, by the way. And we've been ticking up ever since. Couple of levels I have marked out here, guys, that we should see resistance and a rejection at. First one is $108.81. And the second one, I believe the bigger one, is going to be $110.95. We do know as the dollar grows stronger, risk on assets tend to bleed, and that includes Bitcoin. We'll take a look at Bitcoin here in a second. But one more thing I wanted to show you is yesterday when we checked the CME, we're at 88.8%. And we continue to be on the side of we're going to see a Fed pause or continue to hold steady at the 525 to 550 basis point range. So with that being said, Rob, let's take a look at the crypto market.
All right. So we got Bitcoin sitting at that nice, comfortable 26,600. Right about where we were yesterday. And we'll pull back from the week's action and even the month's action. We can see that we've lost a lot of ground that we made here when we broke out of the $25,000 range. Now, I'm taking a look at the broader markets. We have kind of mostly flat across the board. Ethereum just down 1.5%. Not too much movement on the major altcoins, but on the 24 on the top 100, you got Loom Network. You ever heard of Loom Network?
No.
They just broke into the top 100. Frax Gala up 3%.
Jimmy.
And so Gala did take some lumps. I know there's a lot of FUD going on around it.
That's a 70x, bro. That's a 70x just to get back to its last.
We should take a look at Gala again. I know. I feel like
had Jason on here.
Yeah,
a few times.
No, well, here's the thing. They have this large portfolio of games, and so a lot of times games are launching and have upgrades or new levels or things of that nature, or they launch different betas and playables. So maybe we'll take a look at Gala over the weekend, see what's new in their ecosystem. Filecoin also up. Some of the biggest downturns for the alts. You have Thorchain down 8%, Optimism 4%, Rocket Pool down 4%, Toncoin down 3%. So you have a couple of the DeFi sector and kind of taking in the red here. So,
what was that feeding grid? 40?
Yeah, you're at 40. Yeah. So
okay, that's interesting.
40.
40. So still fear, right? But closer to neutral than we are to extreme fear. I do want to share this. So this is kind of interesting. So this is from Chainalytics Labs. So this is a list of their top undervalued layer ones for the month of September. This takes into account developer activity, how many dApps are on there, what kind of TVL they have compared to their market cap. And they list the top 3 most undervalued blockchains for September being Near Protocol, Cosmos, and Phantom. And here is their the top list here. So you have Near coming in at number 1, followed by Cosmos, Phantom, Polkadot, Algorand, Solana, Polygon, AVAX, Cardano, and BNB. Any initial thoughts on this chart, Robin? Near is an interesting one to me. This one is a 20x away from previous all-time highs. We know they're extremely developer friendly. They're fast, they're cheap, but all the L1s say they're fast and cheap. But what Near is doing, it's. I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts? Anything stick out here on this top 10 list here of most undervalued layer ones?
Phantom is interesting. Here's the thing. I think that because we had no layer ones that were functional and operational that were executing what they were promising during the last bull run, with the exception of Ethereum. And even then, Ethereum was operational, just not really ideally operational, right? You had the gas fees as high as a couple $100 for one DeFi swap. And there was an obvious need for some layer ones that had scalability and speed. And then you had this big usher in of all these layer ones. And so we're under the assumption that all of these are going to rally back and get back to their former all-time highs. And I just don't believe that. I think that in technology, when there's a lack of a certain industry, that when there's a need in technology, there's a lot of people that step up to the plate initially, and then only the biggest players win. And we can look at computers or software technology during the computer internet era is the same. There was a host of people that were making computers, that were making software, were making operating systems. And one by one, you can look at video games too. There was at one time you had Sega, PlayStation, Nintendo. You had a couple other competitors, and a lot of them popped up. But at the end of the day, now there's only two: PlayStation, and Xbox. Everything else is dead. And so you look at operating systems. You got Windows and Apple. That's it. Everything else is dead. You look at it's that's how it is. And so there was an obvious need, so a lot of people stepped up. But to assume that all of those, that top 10 list, that they're all going to come back, I don't believe it.
Okay.
And that's why when
So let's go back to this list then.
And so when we look at some of these like portfolio, and on Tuesday, one thing I've noticed in common with all those portfolios is that everyone is so heavily invested in all layer ones outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum that I just feel like you're probably only going to hit like one or two of those. And even then, I don't know how big of the pump it's going to be. I think a lot of these are going to underperform.
So
and
any
it's
on this list?
And it's going to, I don't know. There's nothing here. Phantom is the one that scares me the most out of this list.
Not Polkadot? Polkadot kind of scares me.
No. I saw Polkadot at some of the conventions. They're very excited. They have a lot of developers on there. And so for me, I think that if you're going to have success here, in the same way that like, why do people use Windows and Apple, right? I mean, obviously there's a lack of competition, but it's because of the dApps, right? Because of you're able to use Spotify and all of this. So it's about the dApps. So if the dApps aren't there, if the chain runs smooth and operational, but there's no users and there's nobody building on there, and people aren't hanging out there, you can make the most bad. Okay, here's a good example. Threads, right? Does anybody use Threads? A lot of money behind it. The idea is good. It's supposed to be a competitor to X or Twitter. It was launched by Zuckerberg, and it was supposed to be a direct competitor. But what are they lacking? It wasn't the technology. It wasn't the speed. It wasn't the infrastructure. It wasn't the know-how. They know exactly. The dudes launched Instagram and Facebook.
So what do you
two
what
most
lacking then?
Is lacking users. It's lacking users. And so this is the same thing. If they're lacking users, if people aren't actively using Phantom, and I'm not talking about these pointless little swaps and staking. I'm talking about like, hey, I want to participate in DeFi. I want to build something. I want to use this instead of my bank. I want to use this to manage my investment portfolio by moving my assets and keeping them here and staking or doing whatever it is. If I'm not actively using it in a real world kind of way, and there's not millions of people doing the same, then it's going to fail. That's it. And right now there's an oversaturation. How many people do we know? How many people outside of this room that we're in right now actively use DeFi?
Not a lot.
I'm not talking about people on the internet. I'm talking about people you personally know that actively use DeFi.
Zero.
Exactly.
Maybe like one.
There you go.
Yeah.
So there's not a big pool of users.
No.
And so if there's 20 layer ones that offer DeFi and you can't even name one person that uses DeFi, there's not a big pool. There's not a big piece of that pie. And so there's going to be one, maybe two or three major players in the next bull run when it comes to layer ones. And I know we all assume.
And they're all going to be tied together by CCIP, baby.
And so that's what I say. I would pick two or three.
So would you like to pick two or three from this list, Rocco?
Yeah, I know you've been trying to get me there, but I just...
Come on, man.
Okay, show me the list.
Okay. Rocco, let's pull up the list for my friend Robin.
I just don't like Phantom.
Okay, so no Phantom.
I like Near. I think Near has who's that? Alex Verdian, right?
No, Near is no. Verdian is Quant.
Yeah.
Near, damn.
Anyways,
or
yeah, I do like Near.
Ilya something. So Near is interesting because of their programming language It is the most common programming language used by developers
But
across not just Web3, but across the
But
globe.
are people going to be building it?
That's
Are users going to
that's
come?
the
Like here's the thing. Like Polygon for me, it beats the drum, right? It's making the partnerships. It's
onboarding people.
It is onboarding people. It has actual use case. Now, I would say the same thing about Cosmos, but is Cosmos going to just tie in a bunch of chains that people aren't using? What does that really accomplish, right? And that's why I do like Chainlink, because Chainlink is essentially taking networks that are already functional, that already have users like banking and central banks.
Chainlink, man.
And also they're integrating blockchain as well. So they're doing the banks, they're doing blockchains, they're an Oracle service. They got a lot going on there. Well, big fan of Cardano. I think Cardano speaks to the people. So I think right now it's taking some big punches because a lot of people have taken flight out of crypto.
You know how you have like credit unions, right? Where it's the people's bank, right? Well, the people that don't necessarily like the mainstream banks, they decide to go with a credit union that you get better deals. It's more, it's friendlier to retail. They're more apt to give you a regular person making $60K a year a loan versus giving someone who makes 200, 300 grand, whatever it is. Could that be Cardano? Could the mainstream bank, so to say, the JP Morgan Citibank, be stuff like Polygon, Ethereum, and Cardano be kind of the retail where people who understand and really want, because by the time Cardano finishes his roadmap and Voltaire is done, I could potentially argue it will be in the top 2 as far as the most decentralized networks out there. Only maybe second to only Bitcoin.
I think for a lot of countries that lack infrastructure and banking services, Cardano makes a lot of sense. Now, I'm not saying that their services are so unique that it's not offered by any other blockchain, but they're targeting. It seems like, at least in the early days, they were targeting Africa. I know they had the Cardano Africa Summit thing, and they're also working with a lot of, which I think was underreported, or the significance of it was kind of lost, is that Cardano is working with both DirecTV or Dish Network. Was it Dish Network? I think it was Dish Network.
It was Dish Network.
Dish Network, and also a couple different mobile carriers, so cell phone carriers. And why is that significant? Well, because a lot of people only have connection to the internet through either satellite or through their phone. And that, we're privileged here in the United States and in Europe to have access to the internet through your computer and other services. But in Africa and India, like a lot of those places, you only really have your cell phone and satellite. There's no grid there, So I think that them building out there was pretty significant. So
yeah.
I would just say, don't spread yourself too thin on the layer ones, because I truly believe that there's going to be a couple big winners, and there's gonna be a big shakeout, because the shakeout didn't come during the bear market.
No.
And I think that there was so much money that got locked up initially in the bull market that it was enough to keep all the layer ones afloat. And I think that you're going to have more of a tapering off of the layer ones over the next 2 bull markets. And, take Dash, for example. I think Dash is a perfect example.
Dash is dead.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah. Dash was front and center. It was there.
So
think
EOS.
of like Litecoin,
So EOS.
Litecoin, EOS. I think that that list you saw there, you just put up, I would say 70% of those, I would say 7 out of 10 of those chains are going to be in the next 2 bull markets. We're going to talk about it like Dash, EOS, and I think that's, and so to marry one of these and blindly cult follow these because you got in early and you watched a bunch of YouTube videos on how cool it's going to be very careful. That's the truth, bro. Be very freaking careful, man. Revisit your hypothesis. Look back at it.
Rob, why don't you yell at some people for not liking today's stream?
Yeah, got 80 likes. We are not even halfway to opening the club, but we are all the way to giving some shout outs to some new people. We have C's Crypto, Tompy, Paul Wu, and also Chantel NZ, and to all of you. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If you guys are liking the show, if you like Big Rob's takes, drop a 1 in the chat. Been a while. If you were feeling Rob, put a 1 in the chat. If you just want me to go back to the hospital and get out of here, put a 2 in the chat. Thank you.
Speaking of feeling, Rob, how you feeling, man? You feeling? You getting your energy back?
Yeah, man.
You look like getting your energy.
You know, I got to hit the gym. Yeah, I was on a Jello diet for couldn't actually. They wouldn't even give me any water, bro.
Yeah, I remember.
Dude, I went 3 days. They wouldn't even give me an ice chip, man. They gave me a sponge and water, bro. It was
terrible.
It was rough. I lost about 12 pounds.
Damn.
Well, actually, I think I lost 15 pounds. But then the last 2 weeks they've been letting me eat. So I've been.
What the sponge for?
Wet his lips.
Because I had no liquid. They gave me no water, no ice, no food.
Oh, to drink it through the sponge?
No. They gave me a sponge, and they would dip the sponge in water, and it was on a stick.
Oh.
And then because my mouth was dry, there was like sandpaper, and so because I'm not allowed to drink, they would give me the sponge, and then I could wet my mouth.
Oh wow!
I could just swirl the sponge,
Just a tip, baby.
and I could just try to suck the water out of that thing.
Wow. Good timing on that one there.
Yeah, so.
All right, this should be an interesting conversation. Robin, garner your energy here, my friend. Another stable coin that, got cute with how they backed their dollars. Crashed 50% after a run on reserves, and that is none other than USDR, also known as real USD, which, pay attention, Robin, is backed partially by real estate and crypto. Lost its 1-to-1 peg to the US dollar yesterday, causing the price to fall dramatically to 51 cents in a few hours. According to Tangible DAO, which is the team behind USDR, the depegging occurred after a surge in redemptions drained liquid assets on such as DAI from their treasury reserves. This rush on reserves left insufficient liquidity to defend the peg. Tangible DAO said the depegging was a temporary liquidity issue and that assets still exist to back the USDR. They said, quote, the real estate and digital assets backing USDR still exist and will be used to support redemption. However, the project's dashboard currently shows a backing ratio of 92.4 or 75% if you exclude the project's native token and their insurance fund. So the native token and insurance fund makes up almost 20% of their backing. This is their website, guys. Tangible.store, real money, and it just goes down here. It gives you a 16% yield. Backed by real estate. Stable in value, auto recollateralization. So, Rob, have we not learned our lesson? Like, what is going on here, man?
Real USD backed by
real PP. Poo-poo.
Yeah. This here. Okay.
Go ahead.
If you're going to run a stable coin, it needs to be in size comparable to a bank. Right. I mean, that's you got to have so much money. So unless you have billions of dollars, unless you have the pedigree and the know-how to operate a bank, that's essentially what it is, right? What is a bank? What does a bank do? A bank. Okay, let's just zoom out for 1 second. What does a bank do? Besides steal your money, obviously, but at its core, a bank is supposed to take your deposit and then let you redeem it at your convenience, right? And with technology, they give you a little card, and you can. So I put $100 in the bank, and then I can spend it with my card, right? And pretty damn similar to a stable coin if you think about it, right? You put in $100, and then you get the means to spend it through the technology, which would be anybody that accepts. So instead of saying anybody that accepts Visa check card, it's anybody that accepts that network's stablecoin. And that's it. That's really all it is, right? So a stablecoin is backed by what it's deposited. Now, it could be customer deposits or it could be investors' money. It could have been like, hey, we got $10 billion sitting here. We're going to buy a bunch of stable coins. And then we're going to also take your money. But in the event that everybody takes it all at once, we're still got a bunch of our own money in there. But at the end of the day, it's pretty much their bank. And so if you're a small little freaking website and you have a couple $1 million or, a handful of millions of dollars, you can't run a stable coin. Because you got operational costs, you're gonna dip into the cookie jar, bro. And so I wouldn't trust anybody that has a stable coin unless it is a top pedigree institution that runs it that has something comparable to bank level history.
So Circle and Tether.
Exactly. Or if all of a sudden Bank of America wants to run their own
What about
stable
the PayPal
coin,
one?
JP Morgan wants to PayPal, yeah. Now, I don't trust PayPal personally, but I would feel confident that their stable coin is not going to go to zero. I feel confident that PayPal's stable coin isn't going to lose its peg and be down to 40 cents tomorrow. Why? Because they operate like a bank. They have a ton of money to back it up, and
They got a track record. Whether that track record has blemishes or not, when you're handing over your money to someone, right? I have a friend that I've lent money to 30, 40 different times. And why do I keep lending him money when he asks me? Because every time I know that he's going to pay me back. If he says he's going to pay me back on this day or this week, he does it. And so I've built trust with that person. So when he's in a bind and he asks me to borrow money, I will always lend him the money as long as I have the money. Same thing with banking. Same thing with stable coins. You look at...
Can I borrow a couple ETH, bro?
I got you. Actually, no, your credit went down. My bad. Just kidding. Damn it, I lost my train of thought. That's one thing I did not miss is losing my train of thought.
That's what I do here, bro.
You have your friend, but then the bank.
Yeah, your friend, he's a bank. He pays you back. It's a great story. Awesome. Now, moving on.
Okay, hold on. Let me finish my point. I'm saying when it comes to handing your money over, trust is an important factor. And when I know, and love them or hate them, banks exist for a reason, right? I have a bank account. Robin does. We pay our bills with USD through our bank account. And so I've been with X Bank for 20, 25 years, and I've had no issues. So I'm going to trust them. I'm going to continue to put my deposits in. I'm going to continue to use them. Same thing with stable coins. Tether, love them or hate them, they've been around for a very long time through multiple bear markets. Whether they were committing fraud or whatever people were saying, I think it's safe to say now that it's safer than it was 5 years ago. And again, they've been around. They got the most liquidity. USDC Circle, same thing. Regulated banking charter. You got the team behind it. Now, you get into the whole BUSD, TUSD, CPUSD, BCPCP, whatever the hell you want to call it. It's just the trust is not there. It's not there. And why risk 16% yield, right? Which should have been your first just look at what the
Was that what they were offering for the real shit?
16%. I'm saying, look at what the industry is offering, right? USDC 2 to 5%, Tether 2 to 5%, 17%. What? No, man. Don't call it a stable coin. It is not a stable coin. Call it an investment. Call it an ETF. Here's an ETF that has real estate, commodities, some dollars, some commercial paper. Sure. But don't call it a freaking stable coin. Please. Like, have we not learned our damn lesson? Luckily, there's only like 50 million market cap on the thing, but I say that like it's not a big deal, but 50 million is a lot of money. I'm saying it in comparison to stuff like Tether and where BUSD got and USDC. So, any final thoughts on this? Before I move on?
Nah, just stop trying to be smarter than everybody else in the room when you don't have a lot of experience.
Ooh, are you talking to the people or are you talking
I'm talking to people, yeah, man. You've been in crypto for a year and a half or 3 years, and you got $3,000. And you're like, I'm gonna take this 1,000 and lock it up and turn it into 1,200. But like, stop it. Just DCA. Put a little bit of your portfolio to some high risk stuff. Call it a day. Keep most of it in some safer ones, some safer plays. Bitcoin, Ethereum. Put a couple large caps in there, and then 2 flyers. Maybe those pop off for 100x, you know?
$1 a day.
Yeah.
Okay.
But over here, locking up for a year. The Hex 7-year lockup. What are y'all doing?
15 years, bro. How insane is that?
You know what? That thing is all the way back down to where it was previous.
I'm still.
You remember when Richard Hart was like doing all his interviews, and he was like, "Yeah, we had 10,000% gains over the last. We've outperformed Bitcoin, outperformed Ethereum. We're the fastest, and we had 10,000% gains. 10,000% gains. You know what? All those gains are gone, bro. Now they're right back where he was before he hit this 10,000% gains. Hey, you know what? Maybe you buy it now, and it'll go up 10,000% again. Honestly, wouldn't surprise me. But why the hell you need to lock it up for 7 years to get those gains? That's what I'm saying. Like, if you want to get some exposure, if you're looking at Hex and you're like, hey, this thing's a fraction of a penny now, and I can buy it. What is it, like a third of a penny now?
I'm looking at it. I was curious.
So it's at a third of a penny, right at where it was post ICO, and
0.003.
0.003. Yeah, third of a penny. Yeah, and so look at the all-time chart. Look at that, right where it was. And so on the left side there, that right there. Yeah, go back to where it was on the left side. Right around. No, go further back. Right around there. That's when Richard Hart was starting his prognosis on how much his token rallied over everyone else, and all of that's gone. All of it's gone. All of it.
This
is
thing got
gone.
to 50 cents. Damn. I mean, just look at the last year.
Now, honestly, I'm not even trying to be funny. I think it's a crap project, but I think if it gets through the bear market, knowing that community and knowing those hexagons, man, it'll probably get a backup of over 10 cents, I think. And maybe up 20, 30, 40 cents. I don't freaking know. It wouldn't surprise me. But where I'm getting at is, why do you find it necessary when you're chasing, as Richard Hart says, a 10,000x? Why do you need to get 10 or 20% more return annually off of DeFi staking or off of staking it, right? Or locking it up. If you're taking $1,000 and turning it into 10 million, do you really need 12 million instead? And I know compounding is going to be more than that, but you get what I'm saying?
Gotta be careful, man. Pulse chain.
There's enough.
Pulse chain's gonna 20,000.
There's enough. What I want to get across to people, because especially people losing money, there's enough money to be made buying in the bear market and DCAing out during the bull market. Are you not happy with 5 to 20x's? Because that's what you're gonna get. Or are you happier with the 0x? What is a 0x? What happens when you take an investment and you multiply it by 0?
How spoiled are we to sit here and not be happy with a 10x in 2 years?
And so you're willing to take on risk by locking things up, by staking it, by moving it around. Just put it in a damn hardware wallet, throw it in your damn drawer or lockbox, wherever.
Under the mattress.
Wherever you want. Set it aside, and every time you go grab it, bite your arm off, and just stop. And just wait for the bull market. Make some money. Thank you.
Now, speaking of money and waiting, and that was a terrible segue, but Caroline Ellison is taking the stand, and well, she exposed Sam Bankman-Fried's frantic obsession with crushing Binance. Look at that picture. So, among the most startling revelations in SBF's obsession with disassociating himself from and crippling Binance in his quest to rise to the top of the crypto world, Caroline told the court that one of the things Sam was freaking out about in the months leading up to FTX's collapse was getting regulators to take action against Binance. The testimony suggests that before then, the disgraced FTX founder had actively lobbied for this outcome and even obtained promises from regulators to this end. He appeared to grow frustrated when it appeared that regulators were not making good on their promises. Of course, the regulators were not named. Shocker. He said that if, so this is a quote from Caroline when she was testifying. Quote, he said that if there was a regulatory action taken against Binance, that a lot of Binance customers might move to FTX, and that he had been hoping this would happen for a while, and various regulators had been promising him that this would happen for a while, but it never happened. This thing runs pretty deep, huh? I don't know, Rob. What do you think about this?
I
You think one of those regulators was Gary Gensler in the SEC?
No.
No?
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
What I think, my personal opinion, is that he wanted the pressure and the heat on Binance, not because they were a competitor, not because he wanted the users,
Take the eyes off himself.
not because he wanted to take the eyes off himself,
Really?
was that for the exact reason that this whole thing blew up in the first place, was that CZ had the smoking gun, he had the nail in the coffin, he had the dagger to the vampire, he had the garlic or whatever the hell it was, he had the tools to kill FTX. Because he knew that FTX was being propped up, their value was being sustained by that FTT token. And there was an imminent and direct danger from Binance with the amount of tokens that they were holding, that if they dumped them on the market, FTX would collapse. They knew it. They knew it, and he was at their mercy. And so what do you do in that situation? You can't attack them head on. Otherwise, they might dump the tokens, collapse your exchange. What if the roles were reversed? So think about it this way. What if FTX controlled, let's just say, 40% of BNB token, and they were in an altercation? It was, like they saw that all of a sudden Binance was over leveraged on their own token, right? And that their entire company's value was being based off the BNB token. And FTX, the competitor, knew, hey, if we sell this BNB token, it'll collapse the price, and then they're not going to be able to survive because their entire business model is built off the BNB token. It's the exact same thing that happened. FTX was being, their books, their value, their valuation, everything just was all grounded on this FTT token. Binance saw it, they killed them. Now, were they going to die anyways? Was it a flawed business model? Was there corruption and fraud from top to bottom? Sure. But at the top of the list was the hitman, and it was CZ. And he took his ass out. He took him out, and he knew it. And so what did he try to do? He tried to call up the Don. He tried to call up his friends. He tried to call up the homies. Try to get him executed.
Wow.
Financially, jurisdictionally,
Legislatively? Tokenomically?
Yeah. I mean,
Is
it true?
No, it makes sense what you're saying. I think a lot of it too has to do with, hey, look what he's doing, and then you're over here reaching for a candy bar at the store and putting it in your pocket, right? It's like, hey, look over there while I need to do what I'm doing here, taking the heat off of themselves, and knowing that if they went after Binance and kind of took them out, the entire crypto market would have collapsed, right? But then again, if that happened, then there would have been a run on their money.
Think
too.
about it. CZ literally destroyed FTX. He was the gun.
You cannot say no.
He was?
No, you cannot say that. He did not. He exposed FTX. FTX destroyed themselves. The moment they started taking,
they destroyed themselves by putting all of their company's value in the FTT token.
Correct. So how is that?
And
How is that
the
Binance's
biggest
fault?
control, it's not Binance's fault.
You
Binance
just said.
Binance just offed them. Binance took them out into the backyard.
Binance just shined the light on this.
It is shine the light. He went on Twitter and said, we're dumping $6 billion worth of your token on the open market starting today. Literally. And then within 48 hours, FTX is under. 48 hours later. If you don't think that's a hit, if you just think that it just, the stars happen to align.
Robin.
So you're telling me that FTX just happened to go under 48 hours after CZ said he's selling all the FTT
Robin,
tokens.
if you're an investor in a company and you start to see that it's spiraling, the CEO is doing some shady stuff. They're now trying. You get wind that they're trying to exclude you from regulatory talks. They're trying to target you, and you have a significant stake in their company. Well, you're supposed to hold it because you don't want to sell off your share in the company.
It's not about what he
That's
should
their
have.
problem.
It's
If
not-
I sell my shares of your company and your company goes under, that's your fault, not mine.
No, okay, but if you invested in my company, right? If we have a crypto company and you invest in my company, say you're a 60% in on it, 40% in on it, and I'm down and it's a bear market, and all of a sudden you sell everything and you pull all the funding, you know it's going to make me go under, especially at that moment, right? In the middle of a bear market. Now, is it your responsibility to hold on to your original investment? No, but you know in doing so, you know that if let's just say you're running a Bitcoin miner, right? You're Bitcoin mining and you're barely treading underwater. And all of a sudden, I come in and I'm like, hey, remember that loan I gave you for those miners? I'm just going to have to repo all of them and I'm going to take them. And no, I'm serious. Let's just say,
laughing at you.
say you're mining. 80% of your miners are, I pull 80% of your miners from your institution. Now, not only are you underwater, but you don't even have enough money to get out. So
Diamond Hands Daryl said, David wishes he had a roast beef sandwich right now. Or I'm sorry. Look, all I'm saying, bro, is I think CZ did all of us a favor. Because imagine if he didn't do that and Sam was able to continue to take customer funds, continue to dupe their own employees, to dupe the public, to raise money from Saudi Arabia like he was planning on doing. And FTX grew to an even larger size.
But maybe
billion
it
in
would
customer assets.
Maybe it would have righted itself.
Bullshit.
Okay.
Someone like Sam Bankman-Fried,
I disagree.
who is a serial manipulator, fraudster, who does not give two shits about people, he would have not all of a sudden come to God and say, "Oh my God, I made a mistake. Let me fix my mistake."
I liken SBF to Justin Sun and Tron. I liken FTX to Tether. I think that at their start, at the precipice, that if there was an opportunity to take those companies out, they would have been exposed and been like, holy crap, look how much crap they went through. But then over time, they end up filling the holes and the gaps. You think that all these companies that went under during the bear market, do you think that if they would have treaded water and made it to the next bull market, that they wouldn't have they wouldn't have righted their ways? I think a lot of companies that we're looking at today, especially the ones that made it through the bear market of 2016 and 2017, I think that those companies from then, a lot of them barely made it through. And if they would have went under, they would have been like, oh, look what they did. Look at their books. Look at their practices. Look, they overexposed themselves. They were spending customers' money. And I think a lot of them just made it out by the skin of their teeth. And I think, and who knows, maybe FTX would have barely got out of this thing. I don't think so. I tend to lean with you, but I think there's a lot of companies out here that we put on a pedestal that have just as much shady things going on behind the scenes, but have not been executed, and over time have straightened their crap out. You could look at banks the same way. There have been banks that have been bailed out that had all kinds of issues, and then they skate by, and then they're like, whew, that was close, man. We almost went.
Rob, there's a difference between making bad business decisions and investing too much money here or handing out too many loans. And there's this fucking taking people's money when you're supposed to safeguard it for them.
The banks do. Binance BNB token has outperformed everything, including Bitcoin. Like,
we're not talking about that.
That's what I'm saying. Is that FTX is not some weird, like, wild child. They are the fraudster of the most perfectly ran industry. There's so much fraud and manipulation.
Did you read that book?
Do you believe
book? Are you a Sam Bankman?
Do you believe that any of the allegations from the SEC and I know I don't put much on the SEC, but the SEC and the CFTC with their lawsuits against Binance and all of their claims of fraud from top to bottom. There's a lot. There's lots of accusations, lots of charges, and there is a lot going on there. And a lot of that got lost because they're overseas and they're still operational. But there's a lot of fraud in there too. And let's just say, for example, if for some reason Binance went under, we would look at those things and be like, look how much fraud they had. Look what CZ was doing. Look what they were doing with their BNB token. Their BNB token is literally a fraud. I don't care what anybody says. The BNB token is literally a fraud.
Okay, I'm saying if all those things are true, I would rather Binance.
BNB token is at $200, man. Like, if you're telling me that this thing has outperformed Bitcoin.
It's being propped up. I mean,
so this is obvious fraud and manipulation.
Okay, and if it comes out that there are and Binance goes under, I'm not going to feel bad. Yeah, my portfolio is going to hurt for a little bit.
But that's what I'm saying is that to sit here and think that if CZ hadn't executed FTX, that they were going to go under anyways. I think that there's a lot of businesses that are actively promoting fraud, actively using it, that are spending customer funds, but yet they tread water long enough to make it to the next bull market, not to go under. And CZ did us all a favor by taking old Sam Bankman-Fried out into the backyard.
So you do agree he did us a favor. So then make up your damn mind.
I never said that I was mad at CZ. I never said, CZ, I can't believe you did that. I'm just saying that if you thought that CZ didn't literally execute FTX, that's what happened. And maybe they were going to go under anyways. Maybe they weren't. But
are you happy FTX went under? As far as not people losing money, as far as them not even being in our space anymore. What they were doing, keeping the price of Bitcoin down under 20K. All the manipulation, all the fraud.
You know what I would have rather have happened? I would have rather FTX operate, not go under, and then Sam Bankman-Fried get sued, charged, and put into prison. And so it happens all the time. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Like, I like the Wynn, right? The Wynn is a beautiful hotel. I love their service, but the guy that ran it, Mr. Wynn, creepy old dude that couldn't keep his hands to himself. And did I want to see all of a sudden the Wynn be imploded and replaced and have a new son? No, I like the Wynn. It's good for our industry. The Wynn is a beautiful hotel, and it is.
But no matter what he was doing as a customer, when I gave him my money for a certain product, I was getting that product back.
But what I'm saying is that you asked me, would I rather have FTX? And my analogy here is that I like the Wynn. I think it's beneficial to our local city. And I liked FTX. It was the top exchange for trading. And I think that it provided something that nobody else had. Now, at the top, there was some fraud. And the CEO, the founder, should have been locked up. And so if you're going to ask me how I would have preferred it, I'd have liked Sam Bankman-Fried to be exposed, thrown in jail, and FTX to never have shut down, and for them to keep operating, and perhaps to usher in a new CEO that could run it right.
Speaking of running it right, you know who runs it right? Is our channel sponsors. I want to give a thank you to Cam's Blue Wire Technology for sponsoring today's show and being our longest tenured channel sponsor. If you want to learn how they can help your business, visit bluewiretech.com. Also, big thank you to Radix, the top layer 1 DeFi, for also sponsoring today's show. If you want to learn more about their ecosystem, use some of their dApps, their products, visit radixdlt.com. Also, guys, follow us on Twitter. We're at SinCityCrypto1. Rob, any parting thoughts here, my friend?
No, man.
Good show today. Like a good conversation. We might have to pick this one back up tomorrow. We'll see.
Yeah, my side of the conversation made a lot more sense than your side.
No, it did not. Maybe the gloves come off tomorrow. We'll see. But what I do know will come off today is my hand is going to come off this desk.
Can we just cue them?
And my finger,
please,
is going to light up the sky. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. What an amazing show. Please come back tomorrow. Same place, same time. On behalf of all of us here at Sincere Crypto, we love you. Until tomorrow.
Sin City, crypto. Everybody know what we here for. Entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in. For big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I split the game, but they gave it. Name the coin is your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy the dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting